Hello and welcome to the IDEM Risala Update Poll Talk. The Poll Talk is today at Kanpur, at one of the iconic buildings of this industrial town, or once industrial town, Lal Imli, or better known as the British India Corporation Limited. And this is a building that was established in 1876. It was one of the biggest garment manufacturing company, especially blanket manufacturing company of the colonial Raj. Continued during the British period, in the independence period also. But now it has been shut down for very many years. And participating in the poll talk in front of this iconic building with me is a leader who has very strong roots in Kanpur, Comrade Subhashini Ali, Politburo member of the Communist Party of India, Marxist. Subhashini, welcome to Poll Talk. Well, we are in the midst of a polling day today, but then the Kanpur on a polling day like this looks very different from the Kanpur that I have seen earlier.
Yes.
So let us get inside and have a proper discussion on some of this. So Subhashini, before we got into this premises, I was talking about the iconic Lal Imli and how it was kind of disintegrated over the years. Significantly, the last production here took place in 2013, and after that you had this Messiah of so-called Messiah of Vikas running the center. And this is central government establishment factory. So, what has been done to revive this place over the last year?
Nothing at all. In fact, when Mr. Bajpayee was the Prime Minister, he came here, I think maybe in his election campaign in 1999, it was to be known. And he promised the people in Kanpur in a very big meeting, if we win, we see that the smoke comes out of the chimneys. Again. In fact, what happened is that whatever smoke was coming out of other chimneys, that also stopped. So basically, there have been many factors for this decline. One is, of course, these factories actually were facing closure when they were still privately owned.
Right.
That was like in the 60s and 70s. And then we had big movements here to nationalize them. So, as a result of those movements, half of them were nationalized under the National Textile Corporation (NTC), and the mills that were owned by the BIC were merged. The BIC is British India Corporation. Well, that was formed into a separate corporation, also taken over by the central government. So, few entities were there, but both were only owned by the central government. And the central government at that time made many promises. There were many Congress MLAs also from Kanpur. Some of them were trade union leaders. The name of Arjun Arora, you may have conscience vote and all that. He was also a trade unionist of Kanpur. And they made many promises that the government would invest money, would renovate machinery, would see to it that the mills flourished once again. But nothing of that sort happened. There are many reasons for that, because it's not only in Kanpur but all over India.
Yeah.
That the textile industry came to a grinding halt, and Kanpur had a sort of a worse situation, because here the cloth that was being manufactured was either cloth canvas or very thick material for the rural areas surrounding Kanpur.
Right.
So either for the army or for the other paramilitary and all that, or for rural poor people. Now what happened is that then this came, and they have privately owned. The private owners actually made a killing during the World War.
Right.
After that, all the money, super profits that they earned, they didn't bother to put back into the mills. They actually took it elsewhere. They got into other things. And then two things happened. One is power loom actually destroyed composite mills to a large extent. And then the property on which the mills were standing, it became more attractive for everybody concerned to think in terms of selling that property rather than running the mills. So this happened and a lot of the JK mills actually, which was still with the JK, have been land is being sold, property developer is taking place in much of their thing, and here also, in spite of many legal problems, that is also happening in the NTC and the BIC properties, especially the bungalows.
Right.
They huge bungalows owned by the massive. So then it becomes much easier to say, oh, and just let's sell all this off and make a lot of money rather than try to run these mills. It's a tragedy for the city.
But see, looking at from the government perspective, this is a central government project. As you said, Vajpayee had promised, but then obviously Narendra Modi and Vajpayee are two different people and they have different perspectives.
Manmohan Singh also in between. He didn't do anything.
Right. So I mean the kind of emphasis that Modi has had in terms of privatization, advancing crony capitalism, that is reflected in this town also.
Tremendously. Especially where the labor colonies are. Especially there was one big tannery here, TAFCO it was called, Tannery and Footwear Corporation, had a very huge labor colony. I mean, they got CRPF and all to come and put all the workers out, clear out the colony. That land is supposedly going to be handed over to Adani for some township project and just about that. So that is the way Modi's government is going everywhere. They're interested in actually complete privatization, not just privatization, handing over public assets to the major corporations, basically Adani and Ambani, and so that is something that we are hoping that if they lose in this election, that can be stopped and these can remain as public assets and they can be used for some job creation, some ITI, some training places,
right.
and all that.
It's of course huge property, but coming to the elections, since you have referred to it, as I was telling you in the beginning, it's a very unlikely election that I'm seeing in Kanpur, where people do not seem to be very much interested in coming out to vote.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary election because Kanpur has been a very big, what should I say, base of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Was last two Lok Sabha elections, they won at the huge majority. Before that also, I think almost after 1990, if you see the elections, Congress has won twice. That was when they had the government at the center. Other than that, it is BJP all the way, and they've had a lot of blind support in country. Even if the MPs have been non-performers, not even in touch with the people or anything. And Kanpur has a history of very proactive MPs.
Right.
That all ended and that didn't seem to bother people. And they continue to vote for the BJP, I think because of communal polarization mostly. And also because Kanpur has a very big upper caste population. I think out of all the major urban seats in India, I think possibly we would have the highest percentage of upper caste in Kanpur. So today seeing this election, it's really very strange because what is happening is that where there are large numbers of BJP supporters, we are not seeing lines of people who are voting. And I'm getting the news from other parts of Kanpur also that yes, BJP supporters are coming, but neither enthusiastically nor in large numbers, nor are there those camps that they have in front of the polling place, nor are those seeing big crowds. Whereas those who are voting against them are coming in a steady manner and they all are very convinced about where they're going to vote and they just go in and get their vote and come in.
How is the campaign of various leaders? I mean, I'm sure that Modi must have come and Rahul, Akhilesh were all
Interesting thing is that I have not seen except for Modi and Yogi's road show, which lasted 1.5 hours or maybe 2 hours and just covered a distance less than 3 kilometers. And they tried to appeal to the big Sardar population here by going to But actually, from whatever I saw of the reels and all that, there were no Sardars participating in that road show. And there were mostly whatever they call promoters, supporters who were there. And of course, big crowds of brought there, no doubt about it. But that's it. Beyond that, I have not seen BJP holding any corner meetings, sworn meeting in this area because I'm next to the district court. Every day we will see, 15, 20, 50, 60 BJP people, with their whatever kanchas and, with shouting slogans and Jai Shri Ram. That has just not happened. Actually, I have seen that after 22nd of January, when there was Hanuman, that was the last that one saw when we kind of public display, and
Perhaps the BJP has got too confident.
no, you see that also I say a lot of people are happy about the temple, but it's not that all of them are very good at it. That was their illusion, and that may have been a reason for that. Then the other thing is very interesting in Kanpur. The BJP has brought an unknown outsider. One outsider they brought was Murli Manohar Desai, but he was a stalwart and a big leader of the BJP. But this time they have brought someone who's completely unknown in this city. And there are all kinds of stories about him, which anyway I don't want to go into. But it certainly seems that the real leaders of the BJP here were divided into different camps. None of those camps is really seriously supporting it. So that's another big reason I think for this very one kind of polling that we are seeing in country.
Rahul and Akhilesh are also here, and also started the
Yes, that was, that was a very, the administration played very dirty tricks with our campaign. There was supposed to be a road from Vahan and Akhilesh over 3 constituencies. It was Kanpur, Bihar, Kanpur and Unnao. It was supposed to end in Unnao. Then, as the last minute, they didn't give the permission. So just with 1 day's time and plan, we had to plan for a big public meeting. It was just where we are sitting now, sort of across the road behind us. But it's a very big, big Maidan, and there was a big pandal, and it came on the roads, and of course people came in buses also. But I was very interested to see that very large numbers of very poor people came. And these people from the Dalit community, lot of women from very poor families, it was very hot and they needed big crowds here. And also like very extremely backward class people. And of course there was a large presence of minority people also. But it was a very enthusiastic meeting. It was like people were really involved. People were really happy that the two leaders were there. There seemed to be synergy between the supporters of each. And there was a huge response to what they were saying. And there were lots of young people, huge numbers of young people. So all that makes one feel that maybe Kanpur is going to change. And if Kanpur changes, then that means UP is going to change. Because this is the only urban seat the whole of Uttar Pradesh.
So we're talking about the rest of Uttar Pradesh. What are the signals that you're getting from the first 2 rounds?
The signals that we are getting is that in the rural dominated seats, certainly there is caste polarization, of course communal polarization. But what's happened is that with this India happening, all those who are anti-BJP voters are united. They are not divided.
Okay.
And therefore their unity is able to attract other groups. For example, those who would have been maybe PSC voters, if they are seeing that there's a better alternative that can win against the BJP, then sections of that voters bank, I don't like that word, but those voters are also attracted to the India combination. And now with the big names all contesting, that is Rahul Gandhi, Dimple Yadav, Akhilesh Yadav, and members of Akhilesh Yadav's family and others, there's I think in all those areas there's a lot of excitement. And I think that the kind of speeches that Mr. Modi has been reduced in making in the last, say, a week or so, are the kind of polarization that they were looking for. That is, Hindu voters or a large section of Hindu voters going back to the BJP. That has not happened, but there's been polarization of anti-BJP voters on the basis of caste, on the basis of religion, and so on and so on. And those who are against, their policies, their coming together has been very noticeable. And so in the rural areas, the way people are speaking, I really don't know, but so far, even in Western UP, where after RLD came with the BJP, it was expected that BJP would do very well, but even there, one is hearing that for various reasons, some people are saying that Rajputs and Thakurs are boycotting, they are not voting, whatever the reasons. But there is a very big sense of we want change.
Right.
And I think Kerala is a very interesting thing because there is a Muslim Gurjar lady and then some Muslim Gurjar sitting MP.
Hindu Gurjar.
Hindu Gurjar sitting MP. Now, if she can turn the tables on him, then that is showing us a lot about how his communal propaganda is having a limited effect, which is very good. And also that people are really worried about issues like farmers' distress, unemployment and so on. And I am very convinced that BJP is supporting rapists and those who have, molested women and are accused in such cases, kind of open support that BJP is for them. Whether it's the case Bano, because that's a very known case, or the Hathras rapist, or Bhushan Saran Singh, and now this Trivanna, that is certainly having a huge effect on women voters. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but talking about the left parties over in Uttar Pradesh, here in Kerala, after the Kerala elections were over, and there, the Congress were having a big battle against the Congress, and Rahul Gandhi came and made one indecent speech against Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. So how have you made up and then now kind of...
BNP, I am telling you, the India Alliance is not giving much attention to the left in Uttar Pradesh. See, I think a wrong thing. They have not tried to include the left in the campaign. The left is everywhere.
But you are part of the campaign here in
Kanpur is an exception, I'm coming to that.
Where?
But everywhere the left is on their own leafleting against the BJP government. And of course that turns into support for Samajwadi Party in most of the seats and in Congress in some of the seats. And therefore, we are very clear that the main enemy is the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the Bharatiya Janata Party has to be defeated. If the Congress is able to defeat them in some places, good. Kerala is different. In Kerala, the Bharatiya Janata Party is not going to win. It's going to be either the left front or the Congress-led front. So there's a different kind of election, and it's a very shoddy thing that Rahul Gandhi indulged in over there. I think that was not something that helped them in any way. But in any case, here we are political people and we want the BJP to defeat it. Now, Kanpur is different because I have been LP of Kanpur. Kanpur has gone over strong. Kanpur has a very strong trade union history and a history of workers' movements. So over here, the left is considered, especially the CPI, is considered an important ally in this fight. And so from day one, all the India parties, the AAP and Congress and Samajwadi, they have been very careful to include the CPIM. The first meeting of the parties took place in my house. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And on the public meetings were invited to. We have been having a lot of area meetings, corner meetings. They also attend them, Basti meetings. So here actually we have worked very well together, and I think that this should have been done elsewhere also. There's still a lot of electioneering left in Uttar Pradesh. If they can understand that having the left parties as part of the campaign only adds to it, that would be wonderful.
Finally, what is the role of the BSPM? How is it? How is the BJP? What is the kind of attention and what is the retention that the BSP has on the government?
BSP is always an enigma in every election. And here it's very interesting that in the first, I think 2 or 3 phases, the nephew of Mayawati, he was the most visible face, and he was making tremendously anti-BJP speeches here. And also the stature of candidates was such that in some cases it seemed that they would harm BJP to us. That's what the experts were saying. But just then, I think Amit Shah, BNP with you also at that time, and suddenly everything changed. And this boy or this young man was completely removed from the election campaign on the basis that he's very immature, and then those kind of speeches are not to be heard anymore. But while a lot of people may think that this is going to help the BJP, it has also demoralized Mayawati ji's supporters. Mayawati ji's supporters are not the BJP. Mayawati ji's supporters are being demoralized by this turn of events because Mayawati ji's supporters are not BJP supporters. They are supporters of Dr. Ambedkar, of the Constitution, and they have been the core supporters of Mayawati ji because she stood for those issues. Now when it's becoming very apparent that she's under pressure for some reason or the other, her supporters also are getting demoralized as far as supporting her is concerned. So many of them are shifting towards, I would say, the India alliance. Another thing which is interesting is that in some places there's a conflict between Mayawati ji's supporters and Sapa, Samajwadi Party supporters. But they are also, maybe their fathers and grandfathers have been terrorists, hardcore supporters, So it seems that in some places, with India coming together, they be able to shift. If India is not as difficult and as impossible as it was looking earlier.
Well, I can say that Subhash Ali is quite hopeful of the results of his election.
Yeah, ranges are looking.
So let's see, we can come back to in the course of this campaign after the elections. Thank you very much, Subhash Ali.
Thank you.